Welcome to the Wellbeing and Career World podcast. I'm thrilled to introduce my guest today, Dr. Tori Ellis. She's not just a certified life and business coach, but also an accomplished author and entrepreneur. Dr. Ellis is known for her groundbreaking work, especially her book, The Sound of Business, Seeing Entrepreneurship Through Hip Hop. This incredible piece of work seamlessly intertwines entrepreneurship with her love for hip hop, creating a unique synergy between business strategies and creative passion. Her journey is an inspiring testament to unwavering dedication, marked by a commitment to growth, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of empowerment. What sets Dr. Tori Ellis apart is her extensive expertise in entrepreneurship and business coaching. She's been the driving force behind the transformation and expansion of numerous businesses, not to mention successfully establishing 2 ventures of her own. Her impact resonates across various industries spanning education, fitness, and professional services. And on today's podcast, we'll be chatting about the power of positivity. A very well welcome to the podcast, Dr. Tori Ellis. How are you today, Dr. Tori?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Let's get this started. So where are you right now? I know you've told me already, but just for the listeners, where are you right now on planet Earth?
Right now, I am in New York City.
New York City. And can you expand on that? Any part of New York City specifically for anybody who's dying to visit New York and visit all the wonderful skyline and the shows? Any particular area?
Yes, I'm in the beautiful borough of Brooklyn, New York. Yes.
Oh, Brooklyn. And what's obviously the stereotype of Brooklyn we have? I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Brooklyn, that was out a couple of years ago. And I know that goes back to earlier times. But what's Brooklyn like?
It's just like New York City in a whole. It's a melting pot. So you have people from all different walks of life that is out here and, doing the regular hustle and bustle. We are in the city that doesn't sleep. So everyone is on their grind as usual and, making things happen.
And how's the weather at the moment? Are we talking chilly? Very chilly?
It's very chilly. We actually had snow the other day, so it's icy out right now. The black ice is doing what it do, and we are just trying to be safe out here in the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and in New York as a whole. I'm hoping it doesn't snow again, but I think we're supposed to be getting some more snow later on this week.
All right. It's a bit like Ireland, I suppose. It's we're getting chilly. I think it was only 1 degree Celsius today, which is cold for us, I suppose, but probably not as cold as it can be in America. So I've let the listeners know a little bit about your background. So can you tell them a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, well, as you know, my name is Dr. Tori Ellis. I am a transformational life and business coach. I am a best-selling author and a serial entrepreneur with tons of businesses helping youth and philanthropic efforts. I'm also a new mom as well. So that is one of my biggest and my best careers out here. And I focus mainly on positive psychology and putting forth your most authentic self and best self in this world. Giving the tools to youth and to individuals to definitely succeed with self-empowerment, self-development and definitely a healthy outlook for their mental and their overall well-being.
And are you originally from Brooklyn, or have you always been in Brooklyn all your life?
Yes, I am. I am born and raised from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. And have you ever had any passion or any, love of wanting to move to a different city or a different part of the world? Has that ever given you that kind of like feel?
Yes, I have. I love to travel. So in my travels, I've definitely been a lot of places, outside of New York, outside of the States. And there's so many beautiful parts of the world. There's some parts I still want to visit and definitely explore. So I do have hopes of moving out of Brooklyn. I'm a countryside girl, so I want to be in the greenery where I can go to the lakes and I can go put my feet in some rivers or, take a trip to the ocean, but definitely be around greenery, be around the trees, get that fresh air. It helps me to balance out. It definitely helps with, my overall self-care too. So if I'm ever escaping, I'm escaping to the countryside or I'm definitely escaping to somebody's ocean.
So today's podcast, we're chatting about the power of positivity. So when did all this start for you and what inspired you to kind of be positive and trying to help others and help them to transform their lives. I mean, when did this all begin?
For me, I would say this began at a very early age. I've always had a knack or, something was laid on my heart to be a helping hand to others, always a listening ear. And I decided from young I wanted to go and study psychology. Did not know which one, but definitely I was going to figure it out along my journey. And going through my own issues, health-wise, and, going into those deep parts of depression and anxiety in my youth, I want to say in my teens, because I started college early, it was very difficult. So there wasn't a lot of positive that I was seeing myself. And I want to say it definitely took a turn when I took matters into my own hand to help heal my body and heal my mind, because the doctors couldn't understand what was going on with me at that time. And it took them some years to figure it out. I think we just figured out what was going on, I want to say in 2022. So that started well beyond 11 years ago. And I'd say in 2014, after I graduated, I was like, it's time for a different change. So I started to really get deeper into, my studies, eating right, meditating, doing mindful activities. And as I started going into my studies for my master's and my doctorate, especially my doctorate was focused on human and organizational psychology with a focus on organizational leadership. It was very important. And I came across a lot of different topics that talked about flow, talked about positive psychology. And, there is that misconception that, if you're too, or you have that negative positive where everything's always positive, you're not looking at it from a realistic view, it can be more harmful than good. And that is very positive. You need to have a realistic approach to things. But for me too, it's always about, I'd say if I have a bad thought or a negative thought, I'm going to counteract it with 3 positive thoughts just to reinforce of what's going on. So if I'm having a bad day or a negative, feeling at that moment, 3 things I'm grateful for, because that's tangible, that's realistic for me. And it will shift your perspective in that time, because things can be bad, but there are some good that is there at that moment. And it's a matter of you just being able to be present in those moments too. So during my studies and my doctorate, for sure, it solidified a lot more of, the path I was going on, with being positive in my mind, being positive in my body, and overall changing just, the imbalances I was feeling within. And I wanted to ensure that moving forward with anybody I was encountering, because life coaching, business coaching was a to-do for me. I wanted to ensure that they were also given those tools. My tools may not be their tools. There's different options, but as long as they're able to explore those options, that's what, I'm here to help them along the journey with. And personal development, it takes a lot to, unpack your own issues, your own traumas, some of the traumas that you got from childhood, some that you probably put in the back of your mind and you never know. And when you're able to understand yourself more, you understand why you react the way you react, or why you do certain things the way you do. You're able to help yourself in a different aspect too. You can't control what other people do. You can only control yourself. So I took that approach.
Would you regard, I mean, and be as confident as you want with this answer to this question. You mentioned there that you started college early. Did you start college early because you had a talent and you were kind of highly intelligent? Am I understanding that?
Yes. So when I started school, my parents started me in school very early. So I was ahead from the time I began my studies in elementary school and in middle school. And walking into college, I was already well into my freshman year. So I had already taken AP classes that, gave me credits that fulfilled a full year of college requirements already. So at that time, I would have technically been graduating school at 19, turning 20.
Wow.
And my dad and my mom told me to take my time to really enjoy my college experience and, pace myself. Those were one of the wisest words I got. Because Not only was I able to pace myself, but then, when life took a turn and the health issues started to kick in, me having to take time from a heavy load of classes, instead of taking 5 classes, take 4. So I can rest or go to my doctor's appointments. It was imperative that I was able to do that. And, sometimes when you have, your mind is not right, you're in a depressive state, you're in an anxious state, a lot of times you can't focus on the task at hand. So it becomes really difficult for you to, get things done from your day to day. So that advice that they gave me was actual gold.
Did when you were in your depressive state or having anxiety, did anybody around you, like family or friends, notice a change or a difference in you that they spoke about? And if they didn't inform you, I mean, if you went to say doctors or a specialist, were you getting frustrated during that period of time?
They definitely did see a change. Some changes are very subtle. And because I was very far away from family too, a mother's instincts is quite different. And I've learned that, as I've become a mother myself, you have a sixth sense when it comes to your children, right? You carried them for 9 months. You're kind of connected in a way. So my mom had an idea that I was depressed, and she would mention it, but it wasn't solid, because you call me on the phone or talk to me and I'll put on a brave face and I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm pushing through. And depression looks different for everybody. Sometimes you can be, definitely high functioning depressive. So you can get your work done. You can go to work every day. You can put a smile on your face, and that's your mask. And I was able to do that majority of the time. But there were some days where I couldn't. So I would be a recluse. I would definitely be isolated, stay indoors majority of the time. I wore a lot of black.
Okay.
Black is my favorite color.
In the darkness. Yeah.
Yes, definitely too. Sleep. I can sleep all. I would sleep all day. Keep the light very, very dark in my room, or the blinds would be closed all the time. So there were definitely some signs there, and definitely showed for sure. Doctors too. They wouldn't. I was going to a therapist at the time, a school counselor, and they put me on a bunch of medication as well. So that didn't help. It wasn't having a positive effect on my body. And it would make me feel sluggish. My thinking was a little clouded. So it was different people and, different aspects that definitely were able to notice some things or to see some things. For me, the medication route did not work. And it was definitely more of me just, understanding myself some more, being around healthy relationships, healthy family members, being around, really great friends, and just changing my whole day to day. And that frustration with the doctor's office was truly, truly intense too, because they did not know exactly what was going on. The anxiety and the depression was there, but because of the physical ailments I was having and them not understanding or knowing what was causing it, that was the frustrating part, the unknown. So it definitely required me at some point to just go with the flow of things. And if they couldn't figure it out and I couldn't get the definite answers that I needed, more so just me finding ways to balance out that pain and discomfort that I was feeling.
Did you sense there was a turning point from different stages of your life that may have triggered, the kind of the depression or anxiety from a negative and then back to a positive? I mean, are you aware? Are you aware of that now? Are you that you can actually handle that situation, especially for individuals who might be listening to this podcast and they're probably frustrated and they don't understand why they might be feeling the way they are? Was there a point along the journey that you kind of went, oh, okay, that's what it is, and that's how I can manage that, or this is how I do this?
Most definitely. For me, when I realized that a lot of my depression and my anxiety, they came from a lot of outside stressors. So my depression and anxiety first started because I was in a new school. I was in a new place. I'm typically in a smaller setting with a graduating class of like 200, or in elementary school and middle school. My graduating class was 21 of us, close with my family and with my close friends. And then now into a whole world where I'm in a class of 200, 300, and the teacher only knows my ID number.
Right.
That was anxious. That, sparked a depression. On top of it too, if I was excelling in school before and my first year was god awful, I definitely was not passing my classes, from being anxious, and just the stress itself that played a part. And I did not notice it at first, but it definitely took some time. Once the physical ailments started happening too, that was a stressor in itself, and that caused another layer of depression for me. I will say around 2015, I graduated in 2014. Around 2015, I had a long conversation with my parents, and one of the things that really shifted was the decision. I was accepted into a 5-year program. So they told me you can either take a year off and then go back to school, finish your 5 years to get your master's, or you complete all your 4 years, you give up the opportunity for the 5-year program, and then you come home and you get yourself situated. Now, neither one of them at that time seemed like the ideal ideal choice, because I definitely wanted to go for this 5-year program. I worked my tail off to get into it, but I feel like I made the decision to stick out my 4 years and come home, and that was the best decision for me. So having those long conversations with my parents, and then having those honest conversations with my parents, definitely did help. And I was able to hear from their perspective too, when they started to see a shift in my behavior, and just a shift in my personality and my day to day. And that brought some awareness to me as well. Like, this is a little bit off. So for any listener who is out there, if you have really close friends or family who is expressing concern, at first you may brush it off, because, no one wants to talk about these things. Nobody wants to acknowledge or accept these things. It's a very difficult topic. But at the same time, what I will say is you have loving people in your corner. So an open ear and an open mind, an open heart can definitely help. So with their insight, I was able to start taking some hard looks at myself too, and then noticing just slight changes that I was doing. Whether it would be me staying out late at night or being around different friends who did not have my best interest at heart, indulging in activities that I wasn't used to doing. You would start seeing like, okay, you're going down a more destructive path. And it's a matter of just taking that hard look in the mirror for one. But when you have that support from your family and your friends, that can definitely change, and be a major changing factor in everything.
How are your parents now, considering the journey you've had over the last number of years? Because listening to you here, you have wise, you have a wise head on what appears to be very young shoulders. But your parents, have they seen the transition now, and are they happy the way? Is it like, how do I say this? The old Dr. Tori is back, or do they mention that type of stuff at all, or is it just like every day we just go with the flow?
It's not more so the old Dr. Tori is back, because, you can never return to your old self. You are changing every day. You're not the same person you were 5 minutes ago. You're not the same person you was a second ago. You may have had a life change or an interaction with someone, like, for instance, my interaction with you in Ireland, that has completely changed my trajectory on, conversation and on life. So you're not the person that you were, when you first walked through the door. So it's never oh, this is the old Tori back. They are very welcoming and, accepting and happy of the woman I am and the woman I'm becoming. They've always been able to see great things within myself, and then within my siblings too. So it was a matter of them just pouring in the love that they see, and the love that they have, and guiding us when they can, coaching us when they can, and then allowing us to make our mistakes. But I'd say they're really proud.
No, you sound like you have great parents around you and a good support mechanism. So that's that's a great thing to have. So let's kind of move on to the positivity kind of feel of everything. So are positive people annoying, or is it just perception?
I guess it depends on the perspective of the individual. Everyone has a different perspective on a different take on things, you know? So I guess it just depends on the person you're dealing with. Sometimes people who are overly positive can be, I wouldn't say annoying. It's just sometimes it could be a lot to take in.
Right. And how would you manage that as an individual who kind of looks at another individual and they're kind of like, morning, great to see you, it's a great day, all this type of stuff, and you're feeling inside like, oh, just leave me alone. I mean, how do you manage that as that individual to say, look, you know, I need my space. Thanks for your positivity, but not today.
I'm very big on healthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries comes with, healthy boundaries comes with pretty much communication, right? So if you are able to effectively communicate, like, hey, I appreciate your lovely morning greetings, but today is just not a great day for me. Just that expression in itself, showing your appreciation and putting up that healthy boundary to set your day, it can definitely change, you know, the trajectory of your interaction with someone. So I say a healthy boundary and effective communication for sure.
And if the individual is kind of a little bit, I would say sensitive, and they kind of, you know, what's wrong with you, and what's your problem, and I'm just trying to be nice and friendly. Would that be kind of regarded as some sort of like, is that like toxic positivity, or would that be similar to that, or is that something totally different?
To be honest, like I said, it would truthfully depend on the person. Sometimes people are not able to accept, you know, your reality at the time. And not everyone is meant to accept your reality. You have people who are your audience, people who can understand you in that time. But it's just a matter of being more aware of yourself. So you can accept the person for where they are. And if they do give you a response in that matter, you know, you can have two options. You can either lash back out and, you know, say something slick, which can, you know, completely take you down one path, or you can just, you know, kindly reject the interaction. Like, again, hey, today is not the great day for me, and I'm just going to move in this next direction. I am very, very good at politely removing myself from circumstances. I feel like if you remove yourself from it, you don't have to entertain the interaction any further. And, you know, you accept the person for where they are. Like, you can't change anybody and, you know, their thoughts and how, you know, they want to interact with you. You can only change and, you know, alter yourself, your thoughts, and how you move through the day. So if I'm only in control of me, then either I can sit here and continue to go through this, or I can just remove myself from it and continue with my day. And at some point, maybe I will turn around and have a better day moving forward. Or maybe I do need to just take a couple minutes to myself and I'll be a little bit better. But it's ultimately up to me. But I, for one, would say I'm very good at politely removing myself.
Yeah, that's the best way. It's funny as well, because it's you know, anybody listen to this, if it does happen to you, don't take it personally, and don't be too sensitive. I know easier said than done, but it's like, I'm looking at examples of toxic positivity. It's like, you know, when you're having a bad day and somebody says, "Oh, you'll get through this," or, you know, "It was for the best and things happen for a reason." It's probably some of the words you'd least likely to hear, or statements, especially when you're in a bad way. Like, you know, is for individuals specifically who just can't see any positivity whatsoever in their life at this present moment in time, whether it be love, career, health. what can you say to them? What type of positivity vibes can you pass on to an individual that's waking up in the morning and going, oh, I'm in debt, I'm not feeling good, um, my job is not great, I don't like my job, and my relationship with my boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or friends in general is not great. What can you say to them?
Um, well, the first thing I would say, um, and a lot of times what they need is the acknowledgement of their feelings. So never to diminish or push your feelings to the side. The way you are feeling in that moment is valid. Everyone's feelings are valid. Um, but I would say that, in that same breath, your feelings are valid. Um, where you are looking at right now and your reality is valid, and take it day by day. In any moment, I would say take three things that you are grateful for and really lock in on that. Maybe you are grateful for your dog or your cat or your pet who is with you. So you are not alone. Um, Grateful for, just waking up today. Some people were not given that opportunity when they went to sleep last night. Or just grateful to, be able to feel. And even if those feelings are not the greatest of feelings, there's, some days when you can be totally numb. I think that's kind of worse. So be grateful that you can feel. You have those senses that are actively working, and you can see, if you can see, you can touch, you can feel your emotions, you can speak, and just be grateful for the small things. Take those into consideration, and just build on them. And over time, when you start to build on and notice the things that you're grateful for, in time too, your circumstances may turn around. Maybe the situation right now with people around you it's not for a reason, but it's to give you a different insight on maybe people or situations you need to change around you too, or maybe just small things that you need to work on within yourself. But you have the opportunity to do it. So take lead of your life and definitely go do it.
That's very well said, and it's a positive way of you explained it. Is some people are afraid of taking chances or risks, or is failure a good thing as well? And is failure a positive thing because we learn from those experiences?
I would say failure is definitely a good thing. I personally go by these sayings a lot. Um, every obstacle is an opportunity. Every loss is a lesson. And reason being is because the obstacles that come in your way, even though they are difficult, you are able to gain new tools for your toolbox to grow and learn. Um, and that's your opportunity to grow as a person. That's self-development. That's growing your mental, growing your physical, growing your emotional, your spiritual. Um, Also growing your environment. And every loss is a lesson. Loss is not easy. But the lesson that comes behind it, what did you learn from it? What did it teach you? How can you grow from it? How can you take this loss and take this lesson and apply it to something different, so that way you may not have the same outcome? And some losses you cannot change the outcome for, for example, a loss of a loved one. But the lesson behind it, or what you gain from it, is you may have lost them in the physical, but you have the memories. So you carry the memories, you carry them in your heart. And probably now, if they were really close to you, you have an extra drive forward for what you plan to do with your life moving forward too.
Is it then sometimes, I mean, if anybody's listening to this and they want to do like a parachute jump or some sort of bungee jump, and they don't have that kind of positive mindset, that there's always a fear. But is it a good idea to lower expectations in life to avoid disappointment and kind of like be more of a realist that things may not work out. Do you think that helps, or should we all just kind of like be positive, 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 and then just accept what's in front of us?
Um, I believe that's kind of a twofold. I personally, because you, like I said earlier, you can only really count on the changes within you or what you do, right? So when it comes to outside people, having expectations, I feel like I don't have expectations for outside people, because I allow them to be who they are. I love them for where they are. I love them for where they're at. And when you're able to see and just allow them to be where they are in that moment, instead of seeing them for what you want them to be, that's where a lot of times the disappointment comes in. You may want someone to be this grand person, or you can see so much potential in a person. And when they don't amount to that, that's when you become disappointed. Or if they don't live up to your expectations of what you wanted them to do or the goal you wanted them to accomplish, you become disappointed. But if you just allow that person to be them, where they are in their current moment, and not have those expectations that you put on them, you're just allowing them to be, and you're allowing things to flow the way they're meant to flow without you having that disappointment that comes in place. So I would say that's kind of twofold. I wouldn't say have an expectation, but some people do. In jobs, you will need expectations because you have requirements of your staff members and the people you work with. So yeah, it's a little bit different. It's definitely a little bit different. But it's twofold. So I'd say definitely go with the flow. If it's a personal relationship you have, don't have expectations. Allow people to be where they are. And in your work life, when there are those expectations, like your job requirements, accountability is definitely a part of the game. So, hold those people accountable, but do it with compassion, because you never know, something during that day or that year could have affected that person's mindset, and you don't know what's going on in someone else's life. So just give them grace, the same grace you would want someone to give them as well.
What about the individual or a friend that we don't want to have those expectations, but they say one thing and then their actions are very different? How then do you reduce the disappointment and you maintain the positivity? So, for example, somebody says, "Oh, I'll call you at 7 tonight," or something like that. So you're waiting for the phone call, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, nothing happens. And then they call you back tomorrow as if nothing has, that they could totally forgot about what they had planned the day before, or they're going to meet you for a meal or so on. How then can you discuss that with your friend? Or, as you mentioned already, is it a case that you just respect them for who they are? They might be going through a bad time and you just continue the friendship as normal?
Every situation is different. So every situation you have to approach differently, right? You can't give a one size fit all response to everything. So in this instance, if someone is not calling you back, or someone didn't call you back and they call you back the next day, if they were able to acknowledge like, "Hey, I'm so sorry for calling you back the next day. I got totally caught up," or, they were truthfully honest too sometimes. And, "Hey, I just did not have the capacity to call you back." You can allow grace. I know sometimes I have those moments. I'm that friend. I can have.
At least you're honest about it.
I am that friend. Like, I have a ton of things to do, and as I say, life be life in sometimes. So I can say like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to meet you for lunch," or "I'm definitely going to call you back and give me an hour," and the hour can come and something or three things has popped up that I probably forgot or I got to get done. And it's like, "Oh man." And I just, did not reach out, or I forgot to reach out. And it's like those things happen. So I know I could be that friend. Please give me some grace, because a lot is going on, but in more serious cases, especially if it's a serious case where it's something that was definitely like really important, like I needed you to be there for me, say if they're going through a tough time and you could not be present, accountability, I'd say, is just hold your friend accountable, but then have those conversations. Accountability, compassion, and communication, ACC goes together. You can't be accountable, can't be harsh, because the delivery can definitely misconstrue the message. So, hold them accountable and have that conversation. Like, hey, I needed you to be there. It was important for you to be there. And I had hopes of you being there, what was going on during that time, and allow them that space to let you know what was going on. Their reaction too can play a huge part. Like if they're snappy back, that's probably not the right time for a conversation, because the two of you are not going to have a conducive one. But if their response is definitely in that open space of, I apologize, let's talk about it, that's a little bit different. But in any situation too, I would say start off with just asking each other, especially in those instances, like, hey, do you have the space? And the space goes a long way, because sometimes someone's capacity for a conversation may not be the same as yours. Like they may not have, they may not be calm in that instance. They may not be readily available mentally to have this conversation, and it can probably be overwhelming to them. But if both of you are in a great space to have a conversation, or a good enough space to have those conversations, then definitely be open to it and hold each other accountable. Good friendships and good relationships, you should be able to have conversation to communicate, and hold each other accountable and have compassion and grace with each other to definitely, see what's going on.
How long then do you think you give it with, say, whether it be friends or relationships or even within work, to stay resilient to any negativity, whether it be in work or your work colleagues or in management, and you're trying to reach out, you're trying to be positive, you're trying to share ideas, and you get the famous word ghosted. Mm-hmm. So how do you remain positive as that individual to keep moving forward?
I mean, even in that situation, whether it's a work colleague or someone that you are close with, and you do get that ghosted, I'm very big on too. It's just showing you currently at that moment where they are. Right. Especially if you are, if you're putting forth the effort, you can only do but so much. And it's just showing you currently where they are in that moment. So that good old saying, don't take it personal. It may hurt, it may sting a bit. Yeah. But you have to just keep moving forward, because someone else's feelings or actions towards you should not deter you from being who you are meant to be in this world. So, yeah, definitely. I would just say, keep your head, keep your head focused, and just know it's not you. You have to just, do what you're meant to do.
Let's move on then. So you're the author of The Sound of Business, Seeing Entrepreneurship Through Hip Hop. What's the book about?
So the book is about entrepreneurship, and it's about business. It's giving the insight of how someone explained it to me the other day. It was like the perfect to do on how to be a change agent. And if you are in a business or growing a business or starting a business, just knowing the different aspects that you need to have in play to help your business be successful. And I used hip hop because the culture of hip hop has just been massive, and hip hop is a big part of my life. So I was able to infuse it because hip hop is a business within itself. Hip hop has been here for years and has evolved over years. So with that, whether it was just in music, whether it was in fashion or technology, or, your independent artist, just the different deals and the way that the machines within hip hop work. So those are perfect examples to use as entrepreneurship and speaking on business. So yeah, that book definitely is just the world of business, and the comparison examples of hip hop and how they correlate. So yeah.
And where can you buy the book?
You can definitely buy the book on Amazon. You just type in my name, Tori Ellis, and you will find it, The Sound of Business, Seeing Entrepreneurship Through Hip Hop, along with the other books that I do have written for kids and youth. But then you can also, I believe, purchase that book on my website as well, thesoundofbusiness.org. And if you do purchase it on the website, then I can give you a signed copy.
Cool. So what about then, I'm being nosy on your website here as well.
Okay.
I'm not ignoring you. Thesoundofbusiness.org, as you mentioned. So what services do you provide and how does the whole process work?
So on there, you will notice that I have two options currently. I am adding a third one. So like I mentioned earlier, I am a transformational life and business coach. So if you do need coaching for self-development, but and personal development, but also coaching for your business, you can book a discovery call with me on there. And we can get on a call for 30 minutes, see if we are a great fit, because I believe in alignment and making sure that we are all aligned with the mission at hand. And it's to definitely help uniquely everybody who has their unique mission and their passion and they want to bring it to fruition. Outside of that, too, I do have services for organizations. If you need to have, going through a transition or a change in your business and you need that outside person to come in and look in, or just, getting to the nitty gritty of things within the organizations, from the culture of your business, your employee perspectives and how to help change and, aid in those things as well. Then also too, you can book a discovery call with me and we can see what your business and organization may need. And we can make sure and see we are right fit so we can make those changes so everyone can succeed for sure.
And is the sessions, are they via Zoom only, or can you do them in person, or can you visit the organization? How does that work?
So with the organization, it would definitely be Zoom first to have the conversation. If you are local, or I want to say in the States, it's something that is an opportunity to definitely meet, to do a meet in person. If you're out of state too, trust me, like I said, I don't mind traveling.
You like to travel.
I love to travel. It's something that we could definitely talk about as well. So that way I can see hands-on with the organization. With those particular cases, you do have to be within the organization for a little bit of time, just to be around the people, get a feel for the organization, get a feel for their needs. You spend time with the leadership and find out what's going on within the leadership, but then you also spend time with the internal customers who are the employees, and you see what's going on there as well. So it would be, a part of that to definitely be there hands-on and in the field to see what's going on and how I can help and assist. So the first call will be Zoom. And if we have do it in person, the in-person will be set up afterwards. And we'll just move accordingly like that.
That's brilliant. I mean, very positive listening to you there. So any organizations out there, individuals that want to get in touch with Dr. Tori Ellis, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Are you on all the social medias, the Instagrams and the LinkedIns and all that type of stuff?
So I am on the LinkedIn. You can definitely put in Tori Ellis, and you put a comma, you put PsyD, so PSY.D, and I will pop up there. If you were to go to thesoundofbusiness.org, you can definitely send me a message and it will come to my inbox. If you want to email me directly, you can email me at dr.ellis@thesoundofbusiness.org. And my Instagram, where you may see more of just the work-life balance with my lovely family and my daughter and my work that I do. You can see my Instagram, which is at always_Tori, well, Dr. Tori with TORII, 2 I's for the Tori this time.
Can I ask you then, Dr. Tori, now having how old is your daughter?
She's 2.
She's 2. So for anybody that's out there, do you have a greater appreciation? I know you mentioned it before of what it's like bringing up a young child and then having to manage a career as well. And what do you have? Any advice or any suggestions out there of positivity for any mothers or fathers that are in the early stages of having a family, but they're kind of exhausted and they still want to have a career? Any suggestions?
Definitely build your work-life balance. Definitely spend time with your child, and especially during those smaller years too, because they are a sponge and they are looking for your attention. They're looking for your love. So take the time out to spend time with them and know that your career and stuff is going to grow just as much as they're going to grow too. So find that balance. It's okay to be overwhelmed because it is not easy, but you are doing a great job. And take it day by day. I will plug this into, I do focus on the mom behind the business or the parent behind the business, person behind the business. So you can also find that, that book discovery call link in my services. So we can work on the work-life balance and, prioritizing your business and your family as well. And that self-development. So it's all there. So you have the little tidbit, and then if you need more tidbits, more gems, you can definitely book a call. And, maybe I can be an amazing coach to add to your repertoire, and we can definitely help you grow.
I think you will be an amazing coach, and you are an amazing coach. You're very positive, and it's been a joy to chat to Dr. Tori Ellis on the Wellbeing and Career World podcast. And once the podcast has been approved, it'll be released on your favorite podcast listening social media platform. So thanks so much to Dr. Tori Ellis for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. And thank you to listeners out there.